Good morning. Good morning, Happy New Year, and welcome to this first UUCGT service of 2025. I'm Beth Strawbridge, a member of the Sunday Services Committee, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all, both here in the sanctuary and those of you joining us virtually. As we start our service, this is a friendly reminder to silence your electronic devices so that we might bring our full attention to our service and our time together. If you are visiting or new to the congregation and feel comfortable doing so, we invite you to stand and introduce yourselves. We'll bring you a microphone so that you can be heard by those streaming our service. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Good morning. Thank you for welcoming me into your congregation. My name is Ellen Rapson, and I am soul searching where to continue to journey as I was a parishioner at St. Francis. I played my flute with Fred and been in our choir before him. So it's been a long time. So this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to come and be with you, so thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Heather, and this is my husband Corey, my daughter Riley, and Dylan. It's our first time here.
Welcome.
I am Leah. I have come here from another dimension. Don't ask.
Welcome, Leah. Anyone else? Well, welcome to you all. We invite you to, go ahead.
Good morning. Denise and Jim Carson, just here for the first time and exploring.
Welcome. Anyone else? Well, we welcome you all. We invite you to join us in the social hall after the service for refreshments and conversation. And if you hold a yellow mug, it will help us identify you, and we'll be able to greet you personally at that time. We look forward to getting to know you. In this congregation, we take time during our service to share with each other the joys and concerns that mark our lives. For those of you here in the sanctuary, there's a book to your left on the table with the candles where you can enter a message during the centering music, which will come up next. These messages will be read by Linda Fletcher later in the service. To express those joys or sorrows that you may be holding quietly in your hearts, you are invited to light a candle on the same table at any point during the service. The theme of the Soul Matters material for the month of January is living love through the practice of story. In the introduction to the material for this month, we are reminded that stories can be powerful. We are asked, who among us hasn't felt controlled by a story, stuck in a story, hopeless about the way our story will end? Today's service will immerse us in a story. As we listen to our centering music, may we remember that the ability to tell a new story has been at the center of our faith from the beginning.
We are living neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming to the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
Something on my face? Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, the minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. I'm joined by our dear friend and resident role-playing game enthusiast, Chris Hammerberg. Yeah, yay for Chris. Together, we're going to be your dungeon ministers today. That's a play on the term dungeon master, the one who runs a Dungeons & Dragons game. So good morning on this Dungeons & Dragons Sunday, where we're going to attempt what I think is novel for any UU congregation. The first time I think this has ever really been done, joining one another together in worship as we play a congregation-wide game of Dungeons & Dragons. I haven't quite been able to find where a congregation has successfully done this before, so we're on kind of a unique journey. So to set our scene and get us started, I'll turn things over to Chris for now, who will tell us a little bit more about what we need to know. And please don't worry if you have no idea about what we're talking about yet. More will be revealed shortly as we embark on our adventure. So come join us.
Good morning. Ooh, that was fun. Let's do it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice. My name is Chris Hammerberg, and I use the pronouns he, him. This is a strange topic for a service, isn't it? I mean, what's all this going on over here? I'm not going to tell you. Or not yet, anyway. First, I want to invite all of you to come with me on an adventure of the imagination. As we proceed into the service, I'll describe a series of scenes that we will knit together into a fantastic story. I encourage you to follow me into this realm of imagination and try to place yourself within these situations. However, be warned, this is no meditative visioning exercise. There are real dangers and perils that lurk here, trials and tribulations. Here there be monsters. Are you ready? A little more comfortable over here behind my GM screen. Thank you. Thank you, Emma. There we go. Yeah, give that a good crank there. All right, I think it's good. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. Picture the following scene. You can close your eyes if it'll help. You awake in a strange place. It is dark. So dark that you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's cold. So cold that you can already feel the chill setting in to your bones. It is damp, and you can hear the sound of dripping water echoing from somewhere, and the chittering of rats. It's a subterranean cavern. Disoriented, you reach out, groping in the dark, and find a cold stone wall. Large moss-covered blocks are fitted together with precision, so not a natural cavern. Interesting, perhaps, but it gets you no closer to an escape. Tension and panic start to rise, and then you bump into something else. Another person, and then another. Thank whatever powers that may be, you are not alone. Whatever strange place you found yourself in, your congregation is with you. And after a tearful and relieved greeting with friends and family, you can all agree on two things. One, none of you know how you got here. And two, you need to find some light. After some shuffling and stumbling in the dark, you find a hallway. Is it an exit, or does it just lead deeper into this place? Without any other options, you must move forward. But then you find a metal gate bars your way further into this dungeon. Does anyone in this group fancy themselves a locksmith and would like to try to pick the lock of this gate? Okay, please come forward. Do you have any experience picking locks?
Yes, my proficiency bonus is +2.
Ooh, a +2 proficiency bonus. Excellent. Well, then you need to roll this die here, and you need to get an 8 or a higher to unlock the door. A 7. Your lockpick breaks off in the lock, and it leaves you no choice but to break down the door. Luckily, the metal is old and rusted and doesn't provide much resistance. It gives away without too much difficulty, but it makes a terrible noise that echoes down the corridors and is shortly met with a distant but unnerving roar from further into these catacombs. A creature to deal with later? Only time will tell. After some more groping around, you realize that you're in a storage room of some kind. There are moldering crates and rolls of what might be moth-eaten carpets, and one of you finds an oil lamp, full of oil and ready to burn, but only one match. Does someone with a steady hand, and who can use a match, want to come forward and attempt to light this and bring light into our darkness? Okay. Before you light it, you only have the one match, so you need to make a roll and get a 10 or higher. Let's roll it off the table. Oh, it's sitting on an edge. Another roll. Why don't you roll down in front of the... Here we go. Everybody watch. Oh, and only a 2. The match flares to life, blinding eyes that have grown accustomed to the dark. Blinded and in a rush to get to the lamp and light it, you knock it to the ground, spilling the oil. You are left cradling the quickly dying match, but luckily someone else finds a candle, but it's small and the flame catches weakly. If you can go ahead and... Oh, it's already... Okay, pretend to light that candle. The flame gutters and struggles, threatening to go out at any moment, but for the meantime it casts a meager but nonetheless welcoming light. Thank you. With the new light, you can see that this storage area mostly contains items of religious significance. There are soggy stoles, crumpled cassocks, rusted relics, torn tapestries. You are in the long-forgotten basement of a church or perhaps a temple. Among the ecclesiastical clutter of this place, Alex finds a singing bowl. To help the fraying nerves of the congregation, he prepares to strike it. Listen to the sound and let us draw us all closer together in this present moment. In the new flickering light of the small candle, you can see a crate labeled hymnals. Mr. Fred busts one of the crates open, and finds that it contains a pile of water-damaged hymnals. He thinks that singing a hymn would raise the spirits, and thinks of just the right one. Rise up, O flame. But can he find a hymnal that is intact enough to read the words and the music? Can someone help him look through these hymnals to find one that's intact? Ty, do you want to do it? We're going to get a 10 or a higher to see if you can help him find the right one. Another 2. Oh no. Unfortunately, the hymnals are badly damaged and the ink is running and the music is illegible. But Mr. Fred finds another one that just might work. Come, come, whoever you are, number 188 in your gray hymnal.
Chris, I'd like to remind you that there was a monster that woke up.
There was.
I think
lurks somewhere still.
I think the younglings might need to deal with this monster.
Well, it seems that the adults are all too busy discussing what to do next, and the children must take action.
You left your scimitar at home. What a disaster. We might have to come up with a different plan. All right, my young ones, come forward. Let's see if we can deal with this situation. Your brother has lots of dragon books? Excellent. You have one dragon book. Perhaps one of these books that I mean, we don't even know if it's a dragon. We don't know what woke up, right?
Well, I don't know if there's any food in here, so animal friendship might not work, but I can at least speak to animals and see what's happening.
Speaking to animals, animal friendship. All right, what do we need here?
Well, so, this was also a place that we wanted to do some explanation of the rules.
Ah, yes.
But here's a secret. We've already been doing it. And I think that you guys might be catching on even quicker than all the adults out there. Right? This is just like any game of make-believe that you guys might play on the playground, but there's a few extra rules. When you attempt to do something dangerous or risky, the dice are rolled to determine what plans work and which ones don't go so well. So instead of just saying, I jump across the river of lava and I tackle the goblin that stole my lunch and I take my sandwich back, you've got to roll the dice to see what works and what doesn't. And then the story changes and you move on. So we can now try to deal with this monster that lurks somewhere in the dark.
All right. So, my friends, how do you think we're going to deal with this monster?
Well, we'll see. First, I need to know what it is.
First, we need to know what it is.
Okay, so
Not necessarily exactly what it is, but a description. I'm going to figure it out.
so
Okay.
you guys head down
Okay.
you head down a side passage,
Okay.
and here your eyes grow accustomed to the dark because there's some glowing fungus, some bioluminescent fungus on the walls here, and you can see. And maybe you find some tracks in the mud here.
Ooh, what kind of tracks do we think they might be?
Can someone with a good knowledge of monsters maybe make a roll to see what they know? Elliot, do you want to roll and see?
Got 3 dragon book, no overlap, and another
So you try to get an 8 or higher. Your knowledge bonus will
All
come
right.
in handy here.
What do we have? Oh, thank goodness it's 10.
10. You do recognize these tracks here in the mud. They're large and they're three-toed. It is not. You recognize these deep, heavy impacts of the feet of a troll.
A troll.
Oh, that's not gonna help. I can't help with that one.
You can't help with that one? All right. Well, so if we're continuing down this passage, what is our option here? How are we going to
Well-
deal with this troll?
You know that trolls, while dangerous, are not the most intelligent.
Not very smart. that is
Perhaps you
true.
could lead it away or even distract it with some food.
Ooh.
Well, maybe in some of these crates. Do you want to look around and see if you can find some food?
Oh, okay.
Let's see how...
The one up higher.
Oh yeah, what do we have to roll to find out if there's food?
That's
well-
a 7.
At 7 is, unfortunately, there's no food. Another plan. Does anybody else have another plan that you can think of? Yes. Oh, Emma.
Loud noises.
Loud
Oh,
noises.
to move them away from the group and the congregation, make some noises somewhere
Oh.
else. A good idea.
Oh, distraction.
What noises do you think that we could make?
Something shiny like this tiger's eye I'm wearing.
Oh, sure, to like reflect some light and
Oh.
distract it. Some noises and light.
Like a cat.
Great ideas.
Like a cat laser.
Yeah.
What if I did this?
So sorry, I don't know your name.
Where am I this toy?
Ooh, yeah,
Oh,
a
that's
toy
a
to
good one,
distract
too.
them. All right.
Maybe one of us could distract them like a druid could turn it to an animal to distract them.
Oh.
There's stuff like in wild shape yet.
You can't.
But I think noises and some shiny objects
Shiny
could
dis-
be great.
All right,
I love
let's
shiny
see.
Stuff, so if I take some of the lichen and put it on like a rock or something, is there like a loose pebble?
Perfect. There's plenty of loose rocks around that you could coat in this bioluminescent fungus. And then you can make some noise, shouts, clanging things together.
May I check if there are any pots and pans around?
Yeah, make a roll. I think
All
that's
right.
pretty likely. 8 or higher.
Oh,
A 9. Excellent. You do find some
Perfect.
pots and pans. Now, when a plan is this good, you don't need to roll for it.
Ooh.
So you all head off down this passage, away from the larger group, hoping to get this troll to head down a different way. And you throw this shiny rock, and you clang these pots and pans together. There you go. And then you hear the creature coming.
Uh-oh.
Jeff? I say, you hear the creature coming. But now you all have to hide and make sure that it passes without finding you.
Deception.
Deception. Make a deception roll.
We could be like in the crates or something.
We could hide in the
Yes.
crates.
Oh wait, another idea.
So, trolls aren't very smart. Could you literally just make a persuasion and yell, you don't see any of us?
That is a fantastic idea. And I think it will work. I think on a 6 or higher, you can convince a troll simply by telling it you're not there. A natural 20, the best roll you can get. The troll looks over in your direction as you yell at it, and then it grunts and continues on towards the shiny stone, and you all run away, and you're able to close a door behind you and make it back to the congregation.
Thank goodness.
And the congregation is so happy that they all join together with the kids to sing our songs.
Sing a song.
Spinners and weavers. Congratulations.
Well done.
Well done, guys.
We're not going to the RV room. We get to stay for the rest of the adventure. But we do get to go around and high five all the adults because we made it. We are children of the stars. We are children of
Plan
We're going to take a break from our game. Every now and then you need to step away from the table and get real for a little minute.
This is the moment when we take our little baskets and fill them up with gold coins. Our stewardship touches those within and reaches beyond these walls. The baskets that will be passed here in the sanctuary have two sides, one to help sustain our congregation and the other for community needs such as safe harbor and local food pantries. Other ways that you can give are listed on the screen. You can mail a check to the congregation. You can give on the UUCGT website. You can give through the Vanco mobile app, or you can make transfer arrangements with your bank. All gifts, large and small, are received with much gratitude.
Proceeding deeper into this maze of catacombs, Beth finds an old and dusty tome set upon a pedestal. Perhaps this contains some information that can help us find our way out of this dungeon? Beth walks up to the pedestal and attempts to lift the book. But as she does, a concealed needle shoots out towards her hand. She pulls back, but is she fast enough? 10, she succeeds, but just barely. The needle grazes her hand, but does not draw blood. On closer inspection, she sees that it's coated in some kind of liquid. A poison, perhaps? She was lucky this time. What does the tome say, Beth?
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from an article by Ethan Gilsdorf titled, How Playing Dungeons and Dragons Has Helped Me Be More Connected, Creative, Compassionate. Ethan writes, Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D for short, is a game of imagination, collaboration, and transformation. Each player takes on a character, like a brave dwarf warrior or a brainy human wizard, embarking on adventures in a fantasy world crafted by the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master creates the setting, narrates the story, and acts as the ultimate referee. Through dice rolls and teamwork, players confront challenges and make decisions, shaping and unfolding the tale. What sets D&D apart is its reliance on imagination and the power of storytelling. Unlike traditional board games, there is no game board in D&D. Everything happens in the collective mind of the players. It's a space where you can explore, create, and connect. The game fosters collaboration, as no quest can be completed alone. Players pool their characters' diverse strengths, like spellcasting, fighting, healing, or negotiating, to solve problems and face adversaries. This collective spirit reflects lessons for life. Celebrate differences, rely on each other, and build community. When I first started to play D&D, I was dealing with a lot of my own monsters. The same school year that I discovered role-playing games, my mother suffered a crippling brain aneurysm that left her physically and mentally disabled. The game allowed me to escape my fears and navigate a fantasy world as someone else, someone with power and agency. D&D also builds empathy. Role-playing places you in another's shoes, whether that's an elf, a goblin, or even a dragon. Ethical dilemmas in the game challenge you to consider other perspectives, bridging the gap between self and other. These lessons in compassion extend beyond the game, fostering a deeper understanding of the people and world around us. Finally, D&D rekindles the human tradition of storytelling. In a world dominated by passive consumption of media, the game invites us to imagine, create, and dream. It teaches us that no matter what the odds, the roll of a 20-sided die can bring hope and possibility. Within the game, as in life, we discover courage to face our dragons, be they external or within.
It's hard to tell time in this sunless place, but it seems like you've been walking these corridors for hours. The small light is flickering and threatens to go out any moment. You encounter another door, barring the way. This one is made of a dark and knotty wood and has a large and intricate carving. It depicts the face of a man who seems to be sleeping or in deep repose. As the first person comes to test the handle, finds it locked, but the carved face opens its wooden eyes, and the mouth twists open to say,
It's been many years since travelers have come this way. You seem a bit lost. Can I help you find your way out? But first, you must heed my words.
So, in the spirit of both the UU inclusivity and appropriate to the theme, a little bit of nerdy pedantry, I'm going to start with a disclaimer. And after all, I have a literal pulpit, so I might as well use it. So, Dungeons and Dragons is like Kleenex. It's a name brand that we use to classify a broader class of things. And in this case, we're talking about tabletop role-playing games, or TTRPGs. I'll stop with the acronyms. But Dungeons and Dragons dominates the field and a lot of the discussion around the hobby. But it's owned by a juggernaut of a company, Hasbro Incorporated, with the typical myopic view on corporate shareholder enrichment and such. And it entails it casts a long shadow over a dragon's hoard of incredible games that are created by independent creators from all walks of life and identities and viewpoints. Here's just a small fraction of them. Disclaimer over. So far this morning, I've asked you to follow me on a journey of imagination and to envision these strange scenarios. And I want to invite you on another visioning exercise, but this time we're going back in time to when you were a child. It's further for some than others, but I have it on good authority. We were all one once. So you can close your eyes if you'd like. and envision yourself as a child. Perhaps you're with friends, perhaps you're alone, perhaps it's a lazy Sunday afternoon at home, or maybe you're on a bustling playground. Wherever you are or whoever you're with, I want you to think of a time when you got completely absorbed in imaginary play. Playing house or doctor, cops and robbers, building a moon colony out of Legos and defending it from invading aliens, a tea party with your stuffed animals, Godzilla versus Mothra, hiding from the Troll King in a friend's unfinished basement, and remaining so still and quiet that the very real rat snake that you disturbed uses your body as a ladder to slither its way back down and out into the yard. Was that one just me? I want you to try to remember that sublime joy, a joy not about just creating another world of limitless possibilities within your own mind, which is an alchemical and magical marvel in itself, but absolutely getting lost in it to the point where your perception of time and space distorted into those long summer days that just never seemed to end. Are we all there? This is one important facet of RPGs, a game of joyful imagination. So simple and essential that every child does it without being told how. But we can go even further back, way back to the dawn of language, the dawn of cognition itself. The development of shared narratives and oral traditions told around fires was more than just entertainment. That art of narrative was an adaptation that allowed our ancestors to learn and to share important lessons of survival, cooperation, and build social cohesion. To paraphrase from Brian Boyd's book on the origins of stories, evolution, and cognition, stories help us develop habits of imaginative exploration so that we take the world not as closed and given, but open and to be shaped by our own terms. In and through stories, we readily turn the actual around within the much larger space of the possible, the conditional, and even the impossible. A story opens up new dimensions in the possibility space and populates it with imaginative particulars. To revise Lewis Mumford, if man had not encountered dragons and hippogriffs in stories, he might not have conceived of the atom. By fostering our inclination to think about possible worlds, stories allow us to see the actual world from new vantage points. And that's the magic and promise that I found in these games. At their core, role-playing games are about gathering your friends and loved ones around that campfire that keeps the darkness at bay and sharing stories of heroism, tragedy, greed, and selflessness, hubris, and humility. It's entertainment and escapism, and it's undeniably silly. But it's also a profound exercise in creativity, but also into stepping into other roles, taking other viewpoints, and exercise in empathy, teamwork, and problem solving. These are mental muscles that everyone could benefit from stretching from time to time. And now we'll take another short break in our little game for the joys and concerns.
Good morning. I'm Linda Fletcher, and I have been absent from this congregation for a while. I have returned to see much joy, and it brings my heart great, great joy as well. I appreciate your warm welcome, and I'm very happy to be here. Okay, so this part of the service is a time for sharing amongst us our recent significant events, both joys and concerns, happiness and sorrow. Before we begin with the regular service here, I would like to ask Mary Van Valen to come forward and provide a particular address to an international sorrow, the death of Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter was the first president that I gave my heart and soul into campaigning for. I saved my campaign posters for years and years. So when he died this week, I remembered a story I was told about 25 years ago. And I thought, you know, that story was such a good one, I want to verify that it was true. So I found an interview Jimmy Carter gave about 10 years ago when he was 90 years old. And I can read some of his words instead of just telling the story. First of all, in 1978, our president brought the Israeli Prime Minister, Menachem Begin, and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat to Camp David for peace talks in order to end 30 years of war. In his words, the peace agreement that I was trying to negotiate had broken down. We were in our 13th day at Camp David, and I decided it was over because Prime Minister Begin was so adamant about not removing Israeli settlements from Egyptian territory. I had given up. Roslyn had gone back to the White House in defeat. Before leaving, Begin had requested signed photographs with the president for each of his 8 grandchildren. Carter said it was a gesture of signing each photo personally that made a difference. In his words, instead of just saying, "Best wishes, Jimmy Carter," I got my secretary to get their names, and I put, "With love and best wishes to," and I put their names of his grandchildren on each of the photographs. He was quite angry with me at the time. He just said, "Thank you, Mr. President." But then he called out the name of his first grandchild. And then he looked at the next picture and called out the name of his second grandchild. And he turned to me with tears in his eyes, and I also. Then he said, in effect, "Why don't we try one more time?" So we tried one more time, and we were successful, Carter said. The Egypt-Israeli peace treaty was signed in Washington in March of 1979, witnessed by Carter. Kindness can change the world. Rest in peace, President Carter.
Kindness can change the world. Now I will read the joys and concerns, the messages in the book, but I forgot to pick it up and bring it to the podium. Pardon me while I retrieve it. Oh, another kindness. Thank you, sir. we have two messages here. One from Mike and Mary. May we engage joyfully in 2025, supporting our neighbors who are facing barriers to liberty, promoting and defending democracy, addressing environment and climate issues. Mike and Mary. The next one is sending prayers and love to my mother. I can't pronounce the last name. It's Quiring, Quiring, Jan Quiring, who lost her dog Jojo yesterday when he was hit by a car. That dog has been her solace since my father died almost 7 years ago. Thinking of them both as Jojo crosses over and my mom learns what comes next for her. Thank you for sharing that. I want you to know that this log is available for you to write in, not only during the time that we are gathered together, but it is available for you to write your joys and concerns anytime this building is open. And I encourage you to use it because it is a phenomenal way for us to get to know each other better and to lean on each other in times of sorrow and happiness. And now, if we will, please, I'd like to have a moment of silence to share the unspoken joys and concerns that reside in this congregation. Please know that if you need additional care, Reverend Alex is available to be connected with, or a member of the congregational care team can also help. We are all here to help you. I would like for all of the members of the congregational care team to please rise. Well, we have a solitary representative today. Thank you so very much. Okay, all right. So, I will be here. I don't know if you intend to attend the coffee hour, but I will be at coffee hour. And usually there's more than just one or two attending coffee hour. And hopefully we'll be easily identifiable in the future. We're going to have some sort of a electronic name tag or something, I don't know what. But so you'll know who we are and whose door you can knock on. We will do our best to try to help you. I also want to tell you that this shawl is worn to the weekly services because it serves to show you or to indicate to you that we are working with Reverend Alex, and for you to be able to identify us and come to us and know that we are his right hand. Okay, I guess that's it for joys and concerns, and I want to thank you very much. I feel so comfortable coming home, and we'll see you at coffee. Thank you.
There have been some victories and some setbacks along the way, and Reverend Alex can tell that the morale of the congregation is wavering. There are questions being murmured in hushed tones. How will we find our way out of this place? What are we doing here? Is there a point to all this? He knows he must find a way to bring this all together, so he steps forward to address the congregation.
The first time I ever played a game of Dungeons and Dragons was at a small queer brunch party in seminary. A collective of dear friends, all of us weirdos and misfits, one of us suggested we give playing D&D a try. And in between our bites of waffles and our sips of mimosas, we sat at the kitchen table for a crash course on D&D, what it is and how the game works, as well as planning out our characters for the game. How many of you have some characters for D&D that you've played? I know a few of us have come in character today. All right. So it's been a while since I played, but my character was a human paladin. Bet that's not surprising that your minister went as a paladin character. Paladins are notorious goody two-shoes, lawful good. They have a shiny sword and an unshakable sense of righteousness. I was joined by 5 other adventurers, a half-elf thief who picked locks, a cleric with pointy ears and a quirky personality, an elf bard who's not too good at playing their instrument, a gnome druid steeped in the magic of nature who's also obsessed with shiny things, and lastly, a dwarf fighter who was always ready to protest or to use their hammer to smash unjust systems. I wasn't kidding about all us being a band of misfits here. On this first adventure, we started imprisoned by goblins, narrowly escaping to a nearby town with a dark secret. The mayor of the town was using magic to exploit people and animals as workers for his scheme of profit. Told you this game brings elements from real life into the game. After a journey with many twists and turns, we successfully defeated the mayor, but at a huge cost. My paladin lost his powers and needed to figure out his future adventures ahead. While this is just one example of a D&D adventure, I hope it illustrates just how different, challenging, and exciting each of these adventures can be. In fact, we've all gone on this adventure together throughout this whole service. With each group of players, each in their own character, personality, and quirk, no 2 adventures are the same. In fact, part of the fun is seeing where the journey takes us. But what's special about D&D is truly the use of imagination. While some groups of gamers will use displays or figurines, the game itself has no game board or visual. Instead, it's up to you to place yourself in the mind of your character, to truly visualize things as they happen, and then discern how it is that you're going to respond. Sitting around that brunch table, we were all struck with how drawn in we became, like kids that were eager to hear that next line in a grand story. It was truly a communal game of storytelling, where each of us was co-creating the story with our actions, and of course, the roll of the dice. It's all pretty remarkable how drawn in we can get with games like this. While D&D has held a bad rap among many mainstream churches, I want to argue that there's a lot to gain spiritually from playing D&D, not just for kids, but for people of all ages. I also have to mention in this UUCGT service that D&D itself was actually created by Unitarian. The great visionary behind Dungeons and Dragons, Gary Gygax, was a Unitarian who purposefully created a game that embraced creativity, inclusivity, and exploring diverse perspectives. So I want to leave you with 3 main reasons, 3 spiritual gleanings for you why you should give D&D a try, even if you're new to this world of tabletop gaming or are unsure of where to even begin. The first spiritual lesson I want to highlight is that D&D allows us to try on new skills and ways of being that we normally might not do. For example, if you're someone who's usually pretty good and straight-laced like me, you might try on a character who is cunning and deceitful, using your creativity to try out gameplays you may never actually do in your real life. If you're not usually much of a leader, maybe try on a character who jumps in and takes charge. Maybe you're curious to play a character with a totally different life and backstory to your own. That's what's so cool about D&D. You can create your own character with whatever backstory you can dream of. D&D gives us permission to try on different skills and personalities that we normally don't find in our lives. So that's the first spiritual gleaning. D&D encourages us to play and to try out something new. Second, D&D gives us power and agency in a world of some very finite limits. Instead, we are invited into a realm of boundless possibility, where the constraints of the real world, of our very real lives and experiences, just seem to melt away. It's no wonder that so many people have found refuge in D&D, especially those of you who played it growing up. Just like many find refuge in stories, books, and other fantasy series in their childhood. From our reading, Ethan Gilsdorf speaks to how he was dealing with a lot of his own monsters when he first started playing D&D, his mother's aneurysm. Playing D&D allowed him to actually turn toward and face those fears, trying out characters and roles that helped him return to his daily life with new insights. So the second reason you ought to play D&D is that it puts us into connection with that seed of mystery and wonder within each of us, where we can play out the best versions of ourselves that we can be. The last reason you should play D&D is that it's a game of connection in a world of so much disconnection. There's nothing glamorous or fancy about D&D. All it is a group of players around a table imagining a journey together as it unfolds in real time. In a world full of screens, snappy visuals, and very short attention spans, D&D is a radical and countercultural kind of game. It's a hearkening back to human storytelling, as Chris mentioned. It invites us into a space of our shared common humanity, where we can connect with one another, tell our stories, and empathize, putting ourselves in another's shoes. So D&D offers a way of radical connection in a time when we perhaps feel the most lonely and disconnected than we've ever been as a society. Some have even referred to us now in a loneliness epidemic. A loneliness epidemic. So what does this all mean? Why did we have this whole service on Dungeons and Dragons? In the end, I hope that each of you finds room for your spirit to play and be inspired. Whether it's playing around a brunch table or picking up a game with new players and friends, I hope you find ways to nourish and feed that spark of mystery and wonder within you and each of us. D&D helps us imagine a world with endless possibilities, a world where we can be our brightest and fullest selves, even versions of ourselves that we have never known. And D&D helps us connect with and learn from one another in ways we might not expect. Your challenge this Sunday is to spend some time today connecting with that seed of wonder and play within yourself. Go ahead and nerd out all day on Dungeons and Dragons. I've been there before. Soak up just as much as you can. All of us are made better when we're allowed to imagine, create, and play. So be brave, my fellow UU adventurers. Go out and join in the game. Amen.
Mr. Fred brings out the water-damaged teal hymnal and carefully opens it to number 1020, Woyaya, when suddenly a winged imp flies out of the darkness, cackling maniacally, and grabs at the book. Can he wrestle it away before the diabolical creature makes off with the hymnal? The creature is too fast, and it flies off with the book. A few pages that have come loose fall to the floor. Mr. Fred picks them up. It's hymn number 1021, Lean on Me. I guess we'll have to sing that one instead. As the last chorus fades, someone at the front of the group calls out, "A light! An exit! We finally made it!" Stepping out of the dungeon, we blink tears from our eyes as they adjust to the blinding light of day. We breathe in the sweet, fresh air. There is much rejoicing. I said there's much rejoicing. No more rats or traps or creatures growling in the darkness. The light that has led us through these challenges has done its work, and now it is time to release it. We will carry this light with us into our next adventures, whatever they may be.
Well, how was that for chapter 1 of our congregational journey? I think it worked pretty well, right? All right, it was done in history first here, where we attempted to play a game of D&D live in a Sunday service. Just making that claim. I haven't been able to find that anywhere else, so making history, folks. I just have a quick announcement that our fundraiser auction is approaching. Last year we had a really wonderful different array of classes, dinners, and experiences, some different items that people had put up for donation for our auction. If you're interested in providing an item or experience, this past flash has some information on that, and we also have Brian Beamer, who is here today. Brian, would you raise your hand? Oh, you're out there in the back. So please connect with Brian if you're interested in getting involved in offering an item, an experience, or a class this year. We're really looking forward to our auction that's approaching, so please stay tuned for that. Would you now please rise and join hands with your fellow travelers and adventurers? And those of you online or in the room, if you want to do the sign of "please do not touch me," we allow that too. We accept and welcome all in all the different ways and comforts, and those of you online are invited to also outstretch a hand and just take a moment to feel the power of our connectedness in this moment, in this time of great loneliness in our world, in our country. And just stay with us in a little bit. And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, in the spirit of Dungeons and Dragons and just rolling with it, may we be made ready to serve one another and create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, pass a little squeeze or an air 5, and happy Sunday.